Okay, let's talk about buying things blindly. Let's be good booktubers. Our characters meet, should look up their names, right? So this is described as a gothic thriller. Let's talk facts. Not a drama video. So of course, you guys know who's coming. Let me try that again. Hi everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse. And welcome to a little bit of a confessional video in that not a drama video. I have just pre-ordered a whole bunch of books and I felt the need to come clean about it. So I don't know why I've been obsessed with pre-orders lately. I think because part of it is you purchase books in advance and then somewhere down the road a book shows up in the mail and it's like, oh, it's like my birthday all year long. Things just keep coming. I mean, I'm paying for them, but you know what I mean. Things just keep coming. But there have been a few promotions, pre-order promotions going on. I don't know. I want to support the authors I love. I shouldn't say I don't know. I want to support the authors I love. Pre-ordering books helps their sales, helps with all of their writing business side of things. We are getting the biggest rainstorm as I speak, so hopefully that's not too loud in the background. Literally can't control the weather. But I want to support the authors I love. I want to do things that can support them. And then I want to get my greedy little mitts on their books on day one. So I did a few different pre-order situations, so I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to list all the books and all the release dates down below. I know that the release dates for the US versus the UK vary for a lot, if not all of these books. And I did order some from the UK because, you know, covers. So anyway, let's get into Audrey's obsessive pre-ordering spree that's been going on. So the first book I have is The Kind Worth Saving by Peter Swanson. So I ordered this back in 2022. This is the sequel to The Kind Worth Killing, which is my first Peter Swanson and my favorite Peter Swanson. I am working my way through his backlist. I have 3 books left to go. And my next plan is to reread The Kind Worth Killing before The Kind Worth Saving shows up, even though it should be getting here at the beginning of March. So I don't want to say too much about this, because if you haven't read The Kind Worth Killing, that's not fun. But The Kind Worth Killing is his book, which is a wink and a nod to Strangers on a Train. But we get Strangers on a Plane instead. Okay, so Heathrow Airport, Ted and Lily wind up meeting at the bar. Their flight is delayed. They're having a couple of drinks. They are strangers. They are just exchanging some stories. And Ted kind of in passing mentions that he thinks his wife is having an affair and he kind of wants to kill her. Like, who does she think she is? And Lily is very like, I think you should do that and I can help you, my friend. You are my new friend and I can help you with that killing your wife problem. So they fly back to Boston and madness ensues. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I read it years ago. I recommend it to everybody. I think it's amazing. It was not meant to have a sequel to it. So the sequel, like I said, comes out now. When did the original? Let's talk facts. The Kind Worth Killing came out in 2015. So I suspect that a lot of us readers out there love these characters and wanted a little bit more, or maybe Peter Swanson found that there was some more story to tell. So Kind Worth Killing does have an ending to it. Don't worry, it's not like we all had to wait 10 years for like what next, or 8 years, math. But I'm very excited for this book. I can't wait to see what happens. And it's my favorite for a reason. So Kind Worth Saving is coming out and I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read all of these. I will say the other thing with pre-orders is these are books from like my favorite authors and books that I fully intend to read when I get them. So you guys can hold me to that one. Next up is a companion novel in a series, and this is The Boyfriend Candidate by Ashley Winstead. This is her rom-com follow-up, I guess I would say, to Fool Me Once, which came out last year. So the main characters in Fool Me Once, it is the sister of our main character who is the main character in this one. A lot of using the word main character there, isn't it? So in this one we are following Alexis Stone. Her sister Lee Stone was our main character in Fool Me Once. And we're getting Alexis' story in this. So Alexis did play a very big role in Fool Me Once, but this is her story, which I'm very excited about. So it says, a shy school librarian, Alexis Stone, is comfortable keeping out of the spotlight. but when she's dumped for being too meek in bed, she decides she needs to change. And what better way to kickstart her more adventurous life than with her first one-night stand? So she meets Logan. He is audacious and filterless, her total opposite, and boy, do opposites attract. So I adored everything about Fool Me Once. You guys have heard me talk about it a whole bunch of times on here, and I'm really excited for this. I loved the humor. I loved the wit. It was so smart, so well written. I just love Ashley Winstead to bits. There were some nice steamy scenes in there, and I just loved everything about it. I thought it was brilliant. And you guys know I am a massive Ashley Winstead fan, and the fact that she can go from the darkest depths of The Last Housewife to the comedy of Fool Me Once with some weightiness to it, I just think she's spectacular. So pre-ordered this one, cannot wait. I'm going to dive into it when it gets here, and I'm very, 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 very excited for it. And I don't know that you need to read Fool Me Once beforehand. I can comment better on that after the fact, but they are companion novels. My suspicion is that you will probably get a couple of nuggets of what happens in Fool Me Once, but I don't think that would preclude you from reading it if you want to read them in different orders. So on that very same wavelength, the next book I have is When I'm Dead by Hannah Morrissey. So this is part of her Black Harbor novel series. So Hello Transcriber, The Widowmaker, these are all set in the same town with different characters. So there was a police character crossover from Hello Transcriber to The Widowmaker. I was like, wait, which one came first? I don't know if that same character is going to have an appearance in this book or not, but it involves different people in this community where bad things happen. So this book doesn't actually have a description yet on Amazon, which again, I don't care. I will buy anything this woman writes. I'm a huge fan of hers. I do know that her next book is going to be outside of Black Harbor, but I want to say this is like, I'm going to make it up, which is going to be terrible, but it's like two parents, and I think maybe like their daughter's best friend goes missing. Their daughter is in high school, and I don't know. I feel like I'm maybe making that up a little bit. It doesn't even matter because I'm going to read it and I'm going to love it because I'm a huge fan of Hannah Morrissey and I think she's amazing. And does this book come out on October 31st? Yes, it does. So I was watching an interview with her, and it also takes place during Halloween. So I love that it comes out when it actually takes place. I have been so weirdly into that lately, which I never was before, but having a fun time with those kinds of books. So yep, I'm very excited for this book and I instantly bought it. Next up will surprise absolutely nobody. Ding, ding, ding. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Am I going to beg for an arc of this book again? Absolutely I am. But I am also going to have the original, real hard copy, finished copy for my collection because I'm obsessed with him. So this one is his Lizzie Borden-like massacre inspiration. He always takes his nuggets from somewhere. This is described as a gothic chiller about a young caregiver assigned to work for a woman who's accused of a Lizzie Borden-like massacre decades earlier. So it says at 17, Lenora Hope hung her sister with a rope, stabbed her father with a knife, took her mother's happy life. It wasn't me, Lenora said, but she's the only one not dead. So Kit is her caregiver. Leonora was 17 when it happened, but the police were never able to prove it. So what comes next? You guys know anything Riley Sager does, I'm there for it. So I wound up picking this up when there was a pre-order sale at Barnes & Noble because it's a special edition for them. So there's some extra bonus stuff with Riley Sager. I think there's like a Q&A interview with him in this edition, which is why I got it from them. Usually I get it from Murder by the Book because he does the pre-signings, which I don't know if that's going to be a thing anymore this year since the world has opened up more since that started in 2020, but we'll see. So I am reserving a different book to buy from Murder by the Book, but we'll get to that one later. I haven't done it yet. Next up is A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing, another auto-buy author for me, obviously. And to be clear, I would have purchased all of these books knowing absolutely nothing about what they're about, which clearly I did with the Hannah Morrissey book, and which I did with another one that's coming up, but this one is about a young couple that gives a whole new meaning to the dangers of modern dating. So it says, Wes and Ivy are madly in love. They've never felt anything like it. It's the kind of romance people write stories about. But what kind of story? Because when it's good, it's great. Flowers, grand gestures, deep, meaningful conversations where the whole world disappears. When it's bad, it's really bad. Vengeful fights, damaged property, arrest warrants. But their vicious cycle of catastrophic breakups and head over heels reconnections needs to end fast. Because suddenly Wes and Ivy have a common enemy and she's a detective. There's something Wes and Ivy never talk about, in good times or bad. The night of their worst breakup, when one of them took things so far and somebody else wound up dead. If they can stick together, they can survive anything, even the tightening net of a police investigation, because one more breakup might just be their last. So, I am the girl who read My Lovely Wife when it came out, went to the bookstore, picked it up, devoured it, fell in love with the dark and messed upness of Samantha Downing's writing, and I have never looked back. So, I do still need to read For Your Own Good. I'd kind of been savoring it because I knew she wasn't going to have a book come out last year. And then I did that Dark Academia TBR that I infamously talk about. That completely shut me off from reading any Dark Academia last year. So shot myself in the foot. It's why I don't make TBRs, my friends. But I'm very excited for this book. And she has posted so many beautiful reels and teasers and things on Instagram that just gets me more and more excited for it. So can't wait for that one. I'm going to be very busy when the summer comes, to be clear. I'm going to be very, very busy. Okay, so part of how I get myself into trouble, and I don't use trouble as a bad word, is I was actually researching books that were coming out. I have my list of auto-buy authors. I was trying to fact check dates, trying to plan ahead for videos and all that good stuff. And what I love to do is to compare covers, US versus UK. I like to check out the differing release dates because sometimes it comes out earlier there, sometimes it comes out later. And I like to do my research. So while I was doing some research, I saw that Catherine Ryan Howard's new book called The Trap is coming out. I knew she was going to have a new book. I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know anything about it. There isn't even a cover available for this. Did I buy it? Yes, I did. I totally bought it. So sometimes you can find cheaper prices coming from the UK, and it's just, I mean, I'm not here making excuses. I'm trying to explain my thought process to things. So did I buy this? I mean, I wound up reading the description before I hit purchase, but I also probably would have bought it anyway. But I'm buying it cover blind, which makes me a little bit nervous, but at the same time, there's another book that I'm buying cover blind. So in this one, it says, you'd think they'd do something about the taxi shortage, especially with the missing women. Stranded on a dark road in the middle of the night, a young woman accepts a lift from a passing stranger. It's the nightmare scenario that every girl is warned about, and she knows the dangers all too well. But what other choice does she have? As they drive, she alternates between fear and relief. One moment thinking he's just a good man doing a good thing, the next convinced he's a monster. But when he delivers her safely to her destination, she realizes her fears were unfounded, and her heart sinks. Because a monster is what she was looking for. She'll try again tomorrow night, but will the man who took her sister take the bait? So this is inspired, it says, by a series of still unsolved disappearances. And I am just such a huge fan of Catherine Ryan Howard's writing. So The Nothing Man has echoes of The Golden State Killer in it. And I love how she takes nuggets from, not quite ripped from the headline, but sometimes ripped from the headline, but something that's a little bit inspired by real life. Runtime was inspired by her brother working on a horror movie set, and how she just creates these amazing thrillers. So I have read a handful of her books. I think I've read 3 of her books. I'm just such a huge fan of her writing. I do have some backlist work to get to with her, but I'm very excited for this. And yep, bought it 1000%. Bought it, didn't even look at don't even know what it looks like. Don't even know what it looks like. So the other book I bought, sight unseen, is 0 Days by Ruth Ware. So the US cover has been released. The UK cover has not been, but it was $16.50, I think, when I bought it. So fine by me, totally fine by me. So in this one, it says, hired by companies to break into buildings and hack security systems, Jack and her husband Gabe are the best penetration specialists in the business. But after a routine assignment goes horribly wrong, Jack arrives home to find her husband dead. To add to her horror, the police are closing in on one suspect. Her. Yes, please. So she is on the run and running out of options. Jack must decide who she can trust as she circles closer to the real killer. Unputdownable, heart-pounding mystery, blah, 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 blah. All the amazing things we know and love from Ruth Ware. So I still have to read The It Girl. It is on my 23 and 23 list, but I have read all of her other books. I'm a huge fan of her writing as well. I just think she's great. I am optimistic that I'm going to love the UK cover. I really do like the US cover, which I put here for you guys, but she's an auto-buy author for me, and I bought it. That's the whole point of the video. The next book I have is by Claire McIntosh, and this is A Game of Lies. This is the second book in the DC Fionn Morgan series. So The Last Party is the first book. If you guys have been around my channel for the last month or so, then you know. That book opens on New Year's Day. I started reading it on New Year's Day. I loved it. It is such a great mix of police investigation, small town vibes, and good humor. I just devoured it. I fell in love with Fionn and then a police officer that she winds up working with, Leo, and just all of it. Her family, her network, her people, the town, the murder, the mystery, the whole thing. I'm a big fan of Claire McIntosh. So I bought this one immediately because I want to know what's going to happen next. So I'm very excited. This one actually comes out in August. Again, I'll have all the dates down below for you guys. So again, don't want to say too much, but when you have a police detective, obviously, you know, you can get a series that comes out of it. So new case, the case from the first book, The Last Party, is solved and resolved. All good there. And on this one, we're just going to get more murder and such. It's a very vague description. So it says, stranded in the Welsh mountains, 7 reality show contestants have no idea what they've signed up for. Each of these strangers has a secret. If another player can guess the truth, they won't just be eliminated, they'll be exposed live on air. Yikes. The stakes are higher than they ever imagined, and they're trapped. So I'm not sure how Fionn gets involved in this, but we will find out when the book gets released and I read it. And then the last pre-order I have officially ordered is Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney. So again, another auto-buy author for me. I'm just a huge fan of hers, and I'm excited to see what happens next. And if history would repeat itself and I would randomly get the most beautiful book in the entire world, like I did last year with Daisy Darker, I'd be down with that too. But 20 years after a baby is stolen, a woman is murdered in a care home. The two crimes are somehow linked, and a good bad girl may be the key to discovering the truth. Edith may have been tricked into a nursing home, but at 80 years young, she's planning her escape. Patience works there, cleaning up mess and bonding with Edith, a kindred spirit. But Patience is lying to Edith about almost everything. Edith's own daughter, Cleo, won't speak to her, and someone new is about to knock on Cleo's door, and their intentions aren't good. With every reason to distrust each other, the women must solve a mystery with 3 suspects, 2 murderers, and 1 victim. If they do, they might just find out what happened to the baby who disappeared, the mother who lost her, and the connection that binds them. So I read that entire description. I'm still not totally sure what this book is about, but I will read it because I'm very excited. So this was another one that, like, randomly doing research, found it, bought it. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the summer when the books come in and I have more books to read, and I'm going to read all of them eventually. Eventually. And then the last book I have, which I haven't bought yet, is Ashley Winstead's new book, Midnight is the Darkest Hour. So this comes out in October. This is her new thriller that's coming out, and I am waiting a little bit to see if she's going to do, last year for The Last Housewife, she did personalized autograph copies through Murder by the Book. And if she's doing that again, I'll absolutely buy it through them. I don't know if come October, there might actually be events. She might actually be in New York. Like, I'm not sure. So since we have a little bit of time before this one comes out, I am just pressing pause on buying this one yet. So we're going to see. We also don't have a cover for this one yet, which isn't going to matter because I'm going to buy it either way. And her covers are always kind of amazing. So I think it's going to be fine. I'm not really worried about what the cover's going to look like. And I'm just waiting to see if there's going to be some kind of an event or something around this. So that is my low-key plan at this stage of the game. Let me just check my new release list to see if there's anything else. Oop, I lied. Okay, another contender, which I just haven't pulled the trigger on yet, is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. So there's a 1-month swing between the US and the UK release date. I feel like US is first. And I am trying to decide which cover I like better. So I haven't bought that one yet. Both the covers are out for this book, but you know me and Lisa Jewell, obsessed. I'm going to buy it. I've also heard that this is like her best book yet. There's a true crime podcast vibe to it. So that one I will be buying when it comes out. And then also May Cobb's new book, A Likeable Woman, comes out in July. So I definitely have my eye on that one as well. And I am still waiting for a release date for PJ Vernon's new book, Open Flame. It was supposed to come out last year, then it got pushed to 2023. There's not a hard date for it yet. That's when I've been researching like a crazy lady, and I just haven't found it yet. So wait for it. I'll let you know when it happens. And then there's a whole bunch of other books that I obviously am excited about, and a bunch of them I have e-arcs for, so we'll see what happens. Like I might read the e-arc first and then purchase the book after the fact rather than pre-order it, since I already have an arc of it, but I don't know. We're gonna see. I make no promises on that side of things. But I'm gonna continue to do my monthly anticipated releases, so I will talk about these again and talk about all the other books that I'm super excited for. But I realized that I have been racking up quite the pre-order bill, and I just thought it would be fun to talk about the books that I am particularly excited about and some of my auto-buy authors, which some of them you know, and maybe some of them were news to you, but I don't know. But let me know, do you do pre-orders? Have you pre-ordered any books this year? Are you inclined to do any? Do you wait and see? Oh my gosh, I also totally forgot. I pre-ordered, there's gonna be a US special release or special edition of If We Were Villains by ML Rio that's coming out. Is it gonna be my third copy of the book? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But it's one of my favorite books. It's just one of my favorite books. So I will show you guys that one when it comes. I feel like that's like an April or May book. But I ordered that from Barnes & Noble. They have a special edition. So unrelated to everything, my hope is that the Barnes & Noble Waterstones connection now means we're gonna start to get some more beautiful special edition books here in the US, because it is cost prohibitive to purchase online from Waterstones because of the shipping and all the other stuff. So anyway, that was a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff. But let me know your feelings on pre-orders. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know whatever you want to let me know. There's no rules here, as you know. And until we speak again, until I'm back with another video, take care, everybody. I hope you're doing wonderfully well, and I will talk to you guys really soon in that next video, whatever it is, whenever it comes out. Until then, bye guys.